Dreadnought is 1906, this is 1914, so I think it counts as a super dreadnought. Okay, well that's a good description. I think that fits quite well. So we're getting up into the tiers here, so you still only get the 2 consumables. Upgrades wise, I've gone for the pretty logical ones, so I've gone for main armaments and I've gone for damage control. You could make some choices here, but I wouldn't go for turret rotation because the reload is already 30 seconds, and as you go up through the tiers it gets higher. 32, 33, 34, so you're probably not going to want to increase that reload time. And at the higher tiers you're definitely going to want to decrease that reload time, because the turret rotation on the higher tiers is pretty good anyway. They don't have secondaries that are particularly effective, so buffing them is at close range. They're going to be effective, but it's like very close range, so buffing the secondaries is not really an option, because the only time that's ever going to become useful is if a destroyer rushes you, which is not going to be that often. AA on these is mediocre, so you're probably not going to want to bother buffing that either, because the AA burst on the long range for this one is 1. And the AA burst on the mid is 4, so that would go up to 3 and 6, which is next to useless. So I would go with dispersion if I were you. Yeah, go. This is the Pyotr Velikiy. And we'll draw the air container after this one. Top tier. You should make your rundowns of ship specs into highlights. This is why I'm doing the stream markers, right? So, so my intention is at the very least to publish those as highlights, and then possibly export them to YouTube. I have done that on past streams where I've sectioned it up by doing stream markers, but I've just never got around to doing the transporting it over to YouTube bit. So that is the plan. Yep, okay, Brett, no problem. I know where you live. I tend to always go that way on this map, so I'm for a change. I'm going to go this way because I'm on this side. So on this ship, then you've got the forward-facing 4 barrels, but the gun angles, particularly on that rear turret, are pretty good. So without angling too much, you can actually get pretty decent salvo going. I've already got HE loaded, I think. Oh, there's a lot of destroyers. I might leave that on HE for a second, just to see what crops up first. Yeah, if Pret wins, it's Pret spelled B-L-O-K-E-P-E-A. So the carriers are all going that way, and the battleships are all coming this way. Okay. Right, sound warning, chat. I'm going to open my can. Could mute, but I can't be bothered. There we go. I'm starting to get hungry. I had a massive bowl of stew for dinner. But it was the end of the pot of stew, and it was mostly just the broth. There wasn't much in the way of actual stuff in it. So it was basically soup, so I'm now quite hungry. That's what I wanted to see, but I don't think I'm going to get a shot at you. No. You're going to turn in towards Alpha. Yep. Getting caught up. That's not a word. The faster battleships behind me are catching me up. Although actually, this isn't that slow. 20... I forgot what there was now in port, but it's like 27, 28. No problem at all. Right. Can I lob that? I cannot. Trexon, hello. That changed to AP. Just mowed down a couple of coconut tarts. Ugh. Can't stand coconut. Real coconut I like. But the kind of coconut you get on those things, not a fan. Possum, hello. Now we're getting a giveaway going. 27 entries. That's a bit better. Not entirely sure, chat, why I'm going this way. If I'm totally honest. We don't really need to. Although I would like to support this as Kazi, but I'm a battleship. But I think someone is going to have to shoot at this Clemson, and I think it's going to have to be me. Big Willie 84. If you say so. So Clemson talk range is 5, so I'm safe from those ones, that's for sure. But his reload is pretty quick, 40 seconds, so... I haven't memorised all that, by the way, it's in my sidebar. That's why I have these sidebars. I don't like them, they're really ugly. But they tell you the torp ranges, and they tell you the reloads, and spotting ranges, and things like that. Which is just really handy. Particularly, they tell you the hydro ranges, and the radar ranges. Which, whenever Wargaming change the mechanics, which they do quite frequently, is quite handy to remember. Have some HE. You're welcome. Next. Ooh, Texas. Are you in the clan with the other... Is there a Willy clan? Like we're the bloke clan? Jamie, I think you need to change your name to something bloke. Like, girl bloke. That's a very difficult angle. That's a Minikazi. Not a bloke. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I think maybe we need to have a whip round for you. Ah, I can't shoot you. Oh, the fighters burn for a really long time on the low-tier battleships because you don't have the various buffs. I really want to shoot AP at this New York, but I have AT loaded. Let's just change to AP for a sec. Used to be a bloke. Have you told Mr. Jam that? Get smaller when the weather is cold. Right, New York, now I have the proper armament enabled. You're going to turn, aren't you? Yeah. Hang on, is that both carriers going for me at once? I think it is. Lonovan. Is it the one? It's a bit buggy, but I hate it when the sound disappears when the bombs drop. It's like... Although my nan used to tell me when I was a kid, she used to tell me lots of war stories. And she used to tell me genuinely terrifying stories about the doodle bugs. And how you were safe as long as you could hear them. because if you could hear them, it meant that the engine was still going, because they were designed to... These are the V2s. Was it the V1s? The ones that look like planes, the bombs that look like planes. And they would go along, and then the engine would cut out, and then they fall. And so, if you could hear the engine, you were safe. But when the engine stopped, you were not safe. Pretty terrifying. V1s, thank you. Yeah, the V2s were the rockets, aren't they? The ones that actually effectively kick-started the whole rocket revolution. But yeah, my school was actually hit by a V1. The staff and students basically put the school back together. Nice. Right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. 7 of them, if you include the Orion. And 3 of us. Tanking pants on. Hopefully I can get rid of him, although he will have taught me. So the one thing these Russians do very well is dispose of nearby cruisers. As long as they're not broadsiding, or are heavily armoured, so Pyotr is fairly heavily armoured. That's an Izakasi, that's inconvenient. I'm going to try and use this wreck here, because if he's going to taunt me, he's going to have to go through that wreck, kind of. So I'm going to try. There he goes. Trouble is, the reload on him is really quite... 42 seconds, there we go, look. Gonna get uncomfortable. Boink. Boink. Damage con. So don't be afraid to damage con on these in randoms, because although you've got limited usages, the cooldown is pretty quick, so don't be frightened to like repair one fire or something like that, because you'll get it back again pretty quickly. So like 30 seconds and then I'll have it back. So if I have to let a flood run or a fire burn, it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. Right, shall we deal with these two over here? Oh, I've just completely forgotten about. Good. Bad. Velikiy. Any ideas about captain skills on the Fury? Do you keep asking me about that, Funk? I apologise if you have asked me. Oh, the cone is moving. I think maybe she's a bit uncomfortable. She also hasn't eaten her dinner, so she's probably a bit hungry. Well, you didn't learn the first time, did you, Congo? Hmm? Right, Congo's angled, so I'm going to spin around and try and whack this Texas. But I'm being focused by absolutely everything, so this might be a little bit difficult. And I just took a Citadel. Or was that? No, I think that was 2 pennies. Yeah, this is quite a lot of planes. Good stuff. Let's damage con that. I've got another heal I might get to in 20 seconds. There's no point in ramming because we're a ship down. Or 7. Well, that plan went to plan. That's good. However, I think I may now be screwed. Heal. I think that Minikaze is quite good. He's probably taught me. Oh, he's dead, but he still taught me. Okay, let's keep turning this way then. Okay, Funk, no worries. I think... Ooh. Careful, dog. There we go. Funnily enough, quite a few people have asked me about the Furies. Good. Now I'm out of heals. I have 12,000 health, and that Orion has 31,000, so I'm about to have slightly less. Nope. I don't think, chat, after 140,000 damage, I can carry this. I don't really want a blue line, but I may have to. That carry is just going to keep coming back for me. Can't really blame him, he's right there. I could probably tank him, tank him for quite a while, but that Hermes is just going to keep dropping single torps on me. And I'm not manoeuvrable enough really to get away. I might be able to cheekily use this blue line a little bit here, but... Nope. Goodbye, cruel world. So, yeah. This is pretty much kind of a theme for the whole line-ish, apart from, you know, from the next one onwards, from the tier 6 onwards, you start to have to watch your broadsides a lot more. But this theme of, you know, push, but not too far, and you'll do quite well. The turret turn is nice and fast on the high tier ones, so you can deal quite well with, you know, changing from one target to another and things like that. They remind me a lot, actually, of the French ships. So they remind me a lot of Richelieu and Alsace, where you can sort of go from one target to another quite nicely. I'm going to watch the end of this because I'm kind of interested to know whether our little last stand over here, which was pretty successful between me and the others, whether we've actually given the rest of the team enough to actually pull this back. Don't think we have quite. Then after this is over, I will draw the container. And if possible, if you are the winner of the container, if you happen to be at your PC and you can log in and open it and see whether you got a ship, I would be very interested, because I have to live vicariously through you. Because I can't claim any of these things anymore. And I got some of those to open. I haven't posted the video on YouTube yet because they're not in the shop yet, so as soon as they go into the shop, which is soon TM, I'll post the video of me opening 15 of them, but there's not much point because if you already have the premium aircraft carriers, they won't drop the missions for the premium aircraft carriers. They simply effectively re-roll. So you're more likely to get the camos or the signals or the coal as the reward. So there's something to consider actually, is if you're considering buying some of those, you are, unlike some of the other containers, I think, you are not going to get the mission to get the carrier that you already have and then get the doubloons for it. That's not how it works. So if you've already got the carrier, you won't get the mission and you won't get any doubloons. So that's something to consider if you've already got a few of those premium carriers, is that it may not be worth it. But I think the chance of getting 12 or 12,500 coal is pretty good. So if you're looking for coal, then it might be a good option. But I'd advise just think very carefully before you buy any of those containers. And Funk, yes, I will talk about Furious Captain skills in just a second. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win this. I assume that Izakazi is going to pop up in front of that Langley in just a second and go, goodbye. Where's he gone? He was there. Tell you what, tier 4 carriers on their own, not that effective, but if you're in a battleship and you get 2 of them coming after you, drop after drop after drop after drop, it adds up. Is he going to get him? Nope, that was a terrible drop. He dropped at the square side of the ship rather than dropping here. A good way to think, if you've not played carriers much, a good way to think about the torpedo drops is, so let's say you're in an American or a Brit with its base torpedo speed of 35 knots. I will be doing a video about this actually. If you consider an average ship travelling at, say, 25 to 35 knots, let's just for ease of visualization say that it's 35 knots, so, you know, mid-high tier cruise or something like that. So the ship, let's use a living ship, the ship is travelling along at, let's say, 35 knots. Your torpedo is going to travel at 35 knots, and so what you want to try and do is drop, so let's say you're dropping from this side, you want to imagine like 2 sides of a right angle, and you want to try and make it so that the ship is travelling at 35 knots and your torpedo is travelling at 35 knots, and they're going to meet at that corner. So you have to visualise that in your head, but you have to remember, of course, that your planes are travelling a lot faster than 35 knots, and so you have to drop when you get to that equal point. And it's not something that you can calculate really. I mean, you could do, but it's just something you learn by intuition as to where to drop. And obviously then you have to adjust it, so if it's a slower ship, then you're going to need to drop closer to the ship, and if it's a faster ship, then you need to drop further away. Should be a question. It could be very easily one of those. Maybe not GCSE. Certainly Key Stage 3. Yes. A Minotaur is travelling at 25 knots. Yes, so I think you could say that match was fairly successful despite the fact that we lost. I got more XP than the entire enemy team, which won. Oh dear. Oh well. Some teams can't be carried. If you go to Stats Pick and Mick stream at 1 hour 50 minutes, he does a rundown of the British CV specs and captains. Did I? Was very good of me. Thank you, Jam. I wouldn't have known that. But I'm quite happy to quickly go through it now. But we'll do the give